Yeah.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the Richmond Common Council meeting on February the 2nd. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Goss.
Here.
Lucinda Wright.
Present.
Here.
Mary Parker.
Here.
Justin Bushmeyer.
Here.
Ann Taylor. Jerry Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
And Jerry Purcell.
Here.
Now, the Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer from Councilor Parker.
Lord, we thank you for our many blessings and ask for continued blessing for our armed forces and for all the citizens of Richmond, Indiana. Help us tonight to make the correct decisions on these ordinances, so that these ordinances will benefit all of our citizens and continue to move Richmond forward. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. First on the agenda, we will have the approval of the minutes from our meeting of January the 20th. At this point, you have read over, understood. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
if there were no suggested changes, I make a motion that we accept as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from January the 20th as presented. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have presentations, petitions, memorials, complaints. No complaints? All right, we will move on to Resolution Number 4, 2026.
Resolution number 4, a special appropriation resolution amending the 2026 budget.
Good evening, Tracy McGinnis, City Controller.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight before you is Resolution Number 04-2026, as required by council to review and approve the special appropriations amending the 2026 budget. Your approval will allow each department to spend the approved funds for the purchased items listed.
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell.
I would like to make the following motion for changes in this resolution.
To amend the resolution?
Yes. Number one would be to take Code Enforcement 1101-0318, 301-3999, and drop that to $5,000. I'm sorry, it's currently $47,000, reduce that to $25,000. Next,
I'm sorry, which one is that?
that is Code Enforcement 1101-0318, 301-3990.
And that's for emergency tear downs?
Yes,
Yes.
emergency demolitions.
Yep.
Next is Code Enforcement 1101-0318, 312-3950. The ask was $10,000. We have reduced that to $5,000.
And those are charges related to the unsafe building?
You're right. Well, to weed enforcement, et cetera. Next, we go to the Board of Works. And we want to take Murphy Elevator Services, 1101-0077-301-3990, from $10,000 requested to $5,000. We are taking, or would like to make a motion to change Bader Mechanical Services from $7,050 to $2,500.
Which one was that, sir?
Bader Mechanical Services, under your Board of Works.
What were the numbers?
From $7,050 to $2,500. And Tracy is following me on this, okay? Flow Right Plumbing Repairs, Currently, they're asking for $10,000. We're appropriating $2,500. Next, we go down to police contractual services, which is 1101-0370-301-3990, and that is Essential Elements Digital Community Development, and we are striking the $6,000 requested to zero. Next is,
I'm sorry, Mr. Purcell, which one was that?
that was Essential Elements,
Right here, okay.
Digital Community Development. It's basically social media.
Okay.
And next, we are police training, 1101-0370-312-3911. They wanted to put $25,000 on a credit card. And we elected to suggest that they do this through the controller's office, and because there's plenty of time to schedule these classes, and then we can pay them with a PO, rather than have a credit card with $25,000 on it. So we struck that down to zero. Police travel, now that is something that officers do expect not to have to spend out of pocket when they're at training. So we reduced that from $20,000 to $10,000 for now. And those are the changes that we're making the motion to make. And let me explain that we went through this. Many of these things we can add to later if we need to, but by history and for other reasons, these are the motions we came up with in a real nice, long group discussion before this meeting.
Before we have any questions for the Finance Committee, Tracy, do you want to add anything to Mr. Purcell's commentary?
Yes, I think it's important to note that these are just merely reductions. It's not that the departments are not going to get the money. They are. They just need to ask for it at the appropriate time. Now is too soon in the year to be issuing a blanket for $25,000 when in 3 months they're only going to use $7,000. So it's just a temporary reduction. The departments will have to come back and ask for funds later, and then we'll go through this process again. But it's a good process. It's working.
Mr.
Thank you.
Tracy, so you support this? You're in favor of this?
Yes and no. Yes, I think it's a good process because I think it's an opportunity for the administration to earn the council's trust once again. It is, on the other hand, it is a very time-consuming process, not only for myself and my department, but also for the department heads. So yeah, I mean, there's good and bad. And I hope that we can show, and the department heads can show that, you know, we're being honest and upfront in what the city needs to function, and that we're not overspending or spending frivolously for anything. We don't do that. My office, I have a very good staff that look to where every purchase is coded. It's coded in the right place for the right item. If not, it gets kicked back to the department and they have to deal with it. But yeah, so yeah, there's good and bad.
Mr. Engel, I'd also like to add with Tracy here that she has been a great help in this process. As we ended last year and began the budget discussion, we really wanted to instill trust and regain trust in our community. There's been a lot of discussions about, things, taxes that never sunset, and there have been discussions on the food and beverage tax and the pending wheel tax, and a lot of questions about where this money is going and how it's being spent. This is an opportunity, an attempt, a successful attempt so far, to have oversight and to basically discuss these items, that the blanket PO, this forces the department heads to be more thoughtful with their request.
And we've talked to department heads about this, is that right? And we've gotten their opinion about, are we just slowing down the process more? I guess I have
Yeah,
concerns about,
that would be a question for Tracy. I know it's a
I can
learning.
tell you that was my very first concern, is slowing down the process. The city, we pay net 30 days. We do not want to go over that. We're very proud of the fact that we pay our bills on time. And we wanted to maintain that, not only for the reputation of the city, but we try to deal with local businesses. We don't want to leave them hanging.
yeah.
So we have, this process is ever-changing right now. It's a new process. We're feeling our way with some things, and that's why you've seen some of the reductions you've seen tonight, is because we are feeling our way. But I think it's going to be good for everybody at the end.
So we are doing this because we are trying to gain the public's trust again and also
Accountability.
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 Accountability, and I think too that, you know, we're listening to the constituents of the community, and when someone asks, I think transparency and accountability are at the forefront. And I know we communicate with the city administration, and it's ever-changing, it's evolving. It's going to be clunky, but I also think that we're council for a reason, too.
Absolutely.
Mr. President.
Mr. Purcell?
Yeah, this is part of our reallocating the funds out of the 3,000 and 4,000 accounts to the council's account.
When you say "we," who are you referring to?
The council, when we voted for this year's budget, this is part of the process that we voted for. And as I said tonight, the first meeting we had on it, we kind of expanded what we can do to make it smoother. And then tonight, we had to restrict and pull some things in because it was getting too out of hand. Because if we're not going to look at it, if it's going to be put in blankets, $25,000 without knowing what it's being spent on, we're right back where we were at.
Yeah.
That's not the controller's responsibility to,
We are the financial body.
we are, but we have a controller also as
Yeah.
well, who's
And we.
certainly more qualified than us and.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that. She's very qualified, but we are the oversight body, number one.
Yeah.
Number two is money was spent that we did not agree with, but we have no control over when it's all given out at the first of the year. We have no control over that. And we've decided to take a little bit more control and make sure that money is spent where they tell us they're gonna spend it, instead of just moving it around at will once we appropriate it at the first of the year. And it's gonna work well. Tonight, we had to pull the bubble in a little bit on this because of the amounts they were wanting to put into blankets. And it worked well. We discussed everything with everybody and gave other reasons. You know, we just laid off 21 people, and we need to take it very seriously. That
But we're not saving money, right? I don't hear
we
that
might- we
as
might.
part of this discussion.
We might be, because if
We
we
might be.
appropriated up front in bulk, as a past department head, at the end of the year, I'm gonna look through what I haven't spent and find a way to spend it. Where this,
Isn't that why we get monthly budgets to look at, or monthly expenditures? And I guess I just have a concern that we are overstepping our responsibilities.
not at all, we're finally meeting them.
I don't know about that.
Well,
I wonder.
So in essence,
I guess we'll find out, huh?
yeah, hopefully we'll save enough money this year to work toward our 3-year goal of balancing the budget.
Yeah, and
And-
I understand that. We have to do some things this year. I'm not sure it's this, but I know we,
so in essence, this is a check and balance, more or less.
Yes.
That's correct. Yes, I mean, just calling it what it was.
Simplify it, yeah, to just
There was
simplify.
a $106,000 lawsuit last year that we symbolically voted against.
Right.
And the money was spent, and that was taxpayer dollars. And that's why some of these changes are in place. And the system's not going to be perfect in the beginning.
Oh, no.
But if we can put more minds together and work together to make a better tomorrow for the community, you know, I think that's what we all want. Yes, sir.
I think that it's probably a good idea for some of these things to take place, and I understand what you're saying about that we want to pay on 30 days. And since we meet twice a month, if some of these, for example, if the plumbing would be fit 5,000, we'll still be able to approve that additional and make it by the 30 days, because I agree with you, we need to pay our bills on time. The thing that,
That's one of the things that the committee has given me leeway to do. Anything of that nature, emergencies, things that we have to pay before the next committee meeting, I am able to go ahead and issue a PO for. It gets put on the resolution, and you will see PO number on that resolution and know that it has already been issued and it's in the process to be paid.
in that regard, I think that's a good idea. The thing that I don't like about this is the fact that what we received through our packet does not indicate any of these reductions whatsoever. And to try to go down through our packet versus what the Finance Committee has done is very, very difficult to do. And in the future, if you guys are gonna, if the Finance Committee is going to do something like this, I'd like to have a breakdown just like what the Finance Committee had. Because we, the people who are not on the Finance Committee, had no idea this was gonna happen.
Right. No, I understand. I really do. It's just that we've made it so that we're going to meet and approve these before the meeting, so they only take one night to do. And that's what created that, but I'm sure that I can work with Tracy in a way that while we're doing this, we can change the numbers on the spreadsheet, bring them to the meeting.
Yes.
It'd be an easy fix.
Yeah, we can do that. I can bring my laptop into the meeting. I can change them in my system and just go ahead and have everything printed for you to review the same night.
All right, thank you.
And Tracy-
Mr.
Look, I just wanted to say thank you, because I do realize doing the changes and doing what you do, it is time-consuming, and I really do appreciate all that you put, all the time and effort that you put into it. Thank you so very much for doing a great job.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And just for further clarity, for example, the very first item that we addressed on code enforcement, the emergency teardowns for 47,000 changed to 25. In that meeting, the mayor had stated that an approximate number of $12,000 is what it took to tear a home structure down. And so the committee discussed, and by at least allowing for a 2-week window of time to times that by 2 and round it to 25,000. So instead of a 47,000 sitting there appropriated, 25 was appropriated. So they can tear 2 homes down. And then if this committee meets, and we'll meet in 2 weeks later, can discuss if there's more money needed to be appropriated. It's a more hands-on approach. It is less of just a blanket allowance. And, you know, I feel like accountability and oversight is what that is. But I know it's going to be more work.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I would think before we'd make a decision like that, we would know how many houses were torn down last year and any kind of estimate
Mr. President?
as to how many would be torn down this year.
So basically what we
Rather than
did,
making more work for the controller and for council.
so we looked at, get us enough money so we can operate for the first 3 to 6 months of the year, and that's what this does.
Oh, okay.
So when we get to June or July and something else happens, we can come back for the rest of the money. So the rest of the money is still out there, it's not appropriated yet. And doing this way is more transparent, and it's more working with the council, and that's all fine, that's great. And in the past, when we didn't do it this way, the money still wasn't necessarily spent. It was at the budget, it was in the fund at the end of the year. Especially when you look at these vendors, when you do a PO for a vendor, the department can't just spend that money unless the vendor has an invoice. So, but we came up with some really reasonable approach. I think it's very reasonable, very workable, that It's not going to hold up the city if we need emergency demolition next week. We now have the money to do it. Assuming you pass this tonight, we now have the money to do it. And then if we get a couple of them that happen quickly, which pray that we don't, we may not even use 25,000 all year. It may be a quiet year, so.
And to your note about, looking at how many houses was last year and so forth, we did that during the budget process. So when Matthew did the budget for this, he looked at the number of homes that we had to
Demolish.
work with, in 2025. And so the 47,000 was based on that number. So that was actually taken into account at that time.
And obviously, it's a concern that we're looking at those numbers in what, July, August, September? We don't know what the rest of the year is going to bring.
Right. What we have to look at during budget is we look at June 30th, which is the half year.
Right.
So we know what the first half of the year entailed, and then we have to kind of use our best judgment to determine what's going to happen toward the end of the year. And history plays a lot in that because there are a lot of items that generally don't take place until the end of the year. So we actually have to go back a little further sometimes to look and see what the trend is going to be.
Okay, all right.
And Mr. Engel, just lastly, I would say that this wasn't an intent to hold anything up. And it's not an intent to make more work for anyone, but just simply to have more engagement and work together. And I think that the discussion was fruitful. I hope that, now it's some planning, some 2-week out planning. And it's going to take some flexibility. I want to be transparent and honest when people ask me questions instead of saying, I don't know, I hope so. And
This is going to allow us to do that.
well, in my opinion, that depends on the person, I guess. But I feel like the discussion was fruitful today. Yes, so.
This was as a response to our vote that we took, that we've talked about it. And we have so far worked very well together on this. And we passed the budget with this in it, that this process was in it. Anything over $5,000, we are going to look at. Anything below that, we're not. And, when you look at the amount of money of our city budget and to just appropriate it at one time at the first of the year, and us being the fiscal body, like I said earlier, I don't think we were fully doing oversight.
We weren't, what, I'm sorry?
Fully doing oversight
Oh, okay.
in a way that we had any control.
Okay.
And it's also a lot more work for the finance committee. But that's okay, because that's our job.
What other discussion questions we have on Resolution for 2026?
Mr. President,
Mr. Goss.
I make a motion that we approve amended resolution for 2026.
Second?
Mr. President, do you want to vote on the amendment or have a second to the amendments Jerry made?
Oh, did you make a motion?
Yes, I mean,
Oh, okay.
I read through the.
Okay.
Second?
And I'll second it.
Okay.
2 seconds.
We've got 2 seconds.
So we just need to vote on it.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment. To amend the resolution for 2026 as presented by Mr. Purcell and the Finance Committee. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. President,
Mr. Goss.
motion to approve amended resolution for 2026.
Second.
We have a motion in 2 seconds to approve the amended resolution number 4, 2026. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Communications from the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Since we've last met, we had the really bad winter storm, as you're well aware, and we started running low on salt, but we did pretty good. And our street department did really good job with the equipment and materials they had. So we'll give them some kudos. But one of the things I want to say is I have an audio clip here from a citizen who called in to complain about their street not being plowed, and they went back out and plowed it. And I tried this, WCTV, I played this on the monitors earlier, so you should be able to hear this on WCTV and on the monitors.
I called earlier today today is Wednesday, of the week of the snow, and this is a thank you.
Can we restart it?
Called earlier.
I don't know what they're
today.
saying.
Today is Wednesday, of the week of the snow, and this is a thank you call, because I called you, and I called the road number, like the Richmond Road number 2, and you guys came and plowed this road, and I don't know who to get this message to, but I just want all of you to know that the way you do your job is how I do mine. And it was a great comfort to know that you heard my recording and that you listened. And thank you so much. Tell the mayor I've never met the person. We just moved here from Batesville. We love Richmond, and we've never met a sour person, and we feel blessed that you did that for us and for our neighbor with the heart problem, in and out of their house. So thank you so much for listening and for acting. God bless all of you in the work you do.
That wasn't about the mayor, that was for everybody. We had,
Mr. Mayor.
as you can imagine, we had quite a few calls, so that was one of the more positive ones. They don't always call back and show appreciation, so she had called the mayor's office and the street department, and by the time I called the street department, says, oh, we're going back out there today, this was the second day, and get it taken care of, and then she left that message, and I want everybody to hear it. So I played it for department heads today, the street department, so he has several more like that. So even though it may have taken longer, and it did because it was so cold and there was so much snow and we're so short on salt, but the whole state, so we had a phone call with the governor's office on Tuesday. The whole state is short on salt. Cargill has the statewide contract, and NDOT is short on salt. Everybody's short on salt. And then if you had any extra salt, of course, it went south, who didn't have salt and wasn't expecting all this. So I think we did a really good job. I just wanted you to hear that. And that's everybody. That's approving the budget to give the street department money to pay overtime last weekend. You're in this too. We're all in this together. I also want to mention the Meltdown Ice Festival and Saturday night fireworks were all well attended. So kudos to the organizers, volunteers, Parks Department and Street Department for another excellent event. With all that snow, normally the Parks Department can clean stuff out good, but the Street Department had to come in with dump trucks and had to literally remove snow from Elstro Park and take it elsewhere. And I don't know where they dumped it, probably somewhere in the county, but that's for another joke for another day. One of the things, watching the fireworks Saturday night, I don't know if how many of you are out there, it was really cold, but it was still kind of fun. It dawned on me and some others there, we were talking, next year at this time, there'll be quite a few people living in apartments downtown, and this will be right out their window. So watching fireworks out your window from a downtown apartment instead of being out in the cold, it'll be different. Denise wanted me to mention or remind people about the Winter's Farmers Market. Saturdays in the Star Jeanette building, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., so that's going on again. And one more thing, because today is Groundhog's Day. So I don't know if you watched Punxsutawney Phil or not, but the park beaver did not see her shadow today. So for Richmond, we're calling for fewer than 6 weeks of winter remaining. So there you go.
We'll see.
Well, there you go.
We don't have a name for the park's beaver that I've been able to find, but Denise is looking.
Randy,
But it's a she, we decided.
Rory.
Thank you.
Priscilla.
Mr. President.
Mr. Engel.
So where are we with salt? We don't have any, or we have some?
We have some, so
We're
if you
expecting more.
follow the salt truck, you'll notice that for the first time in a long time, they mixed sand with the salt to make it go farther and did the intersections, and it was so cold, it really is not very effective. So if we have another good snowfall, we can salt one more time, and then we're in trouble, but we have NDOT's number, and they're willing to bring us salt from another district if we need it, a 100-ton truckload at a moment's notice. But for right now, we had a thought of asking them then, because we're so low, but they just said, just hold off, because we could be there in half a day. We could be there in time if you need it, because they do have other districts that have extra salt around the state. So that was kind of neat, getting a call from the governor's office and willing to give out, lend a hand if we need it, knowing all the cities that use the same vendor probably had the same problem. We haven't had salt delivery. The last 2 orders have not been fulfilled, and the first order that's not been fulfilled, that was before Christmas. So we're now into the second months of not getting our salt delivered, so yay.
Great.
And I know it took the airport, Rodney and them guys did a really good job, but it took them days to get the airport clear, but the airport got back open as soon as it could.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor? Hearing none. In your packet, you received the minutes from the January 15 meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety. Are there any questions at this time? Okay. Reports from department heads, standing committees, special committees, and/or organizations. Okay. Ordinances on first reading.
Mr. President,
Mr. Goss.
I make a motion that we suspend the rules and read ordinance 8, 2026 by title only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to read ordinance 8, 2026 by title only. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a grant from the Indiana University's Environmental Resilience Institute.
You.
Hi, good evening. I'm Allison Zeidel. I'm a member of the Environmental Commission. I've spoken to you many times, and I'm back again. I'm here with Thomas Hill from I&D and Laura Carnes from Parks Department. They'll be available for questions after we're done here. So we have come to the Commission in the past 5 years. This will be our 4th time to ask for permission to enter into a cohort with the Indiana University's Environmental Resilience Institute. This is Bloomington IU, not IU East IU. We have had very successful work within these cohorts in the past. We have done things like greenhouse gas emission inventory, but most recently we did a grant relationship with them that brought us over $120,000 value in tree plantings, and they were in some more vulnerable parts of the city. They are taking care of care and maintenance for 3 years. So it was a really successful cohort. That was one that we did in 2024. We had a McKinney Climate Fellow from IU who managed that program for us, so it doesn't take a huge amount of time from the city. So we've been really, really happy with these cohorts. They've gone really well. And this is essentially IU holding the hands of a lot of communities that just need a little extra help. Usually technical guidance or guidance by peer exchange. But also some actual physical things like trees and plantings and things like that. So this year, the cohort is for an urban management plan, which is different than an urban master plan, and we'll have Laura explain that to you a little bit so you understand the difference there. Again, the McKinney Climate Fellow would again be with us in spring, summer, and then a little bit also in the fall to help manage that. They'd be under the direction of Thomas Hill. Conservative value of this year's cohort would be $60,000 to $80,000, which is wonderful. Something that I'm assuming we cannot afford in our city budget right now, so it's nice to have IU's support on that. The cost to participate is generally the same almost every year with this cohort. This year it's about $3,700, so very minimal for that $60,000 to $80,000 exchange. TL has carved out money in his tree budget. This is a really good financial move for him, as you can imagine, to help on the management side of figuring out how to deal with problems before they come severe, extreme, public danger type of problems, deal with them in advance and be able to see in advance what's coming at us. So this permission slip that we're asking for is not actually as urgent as the one that we brought you in December, but the sooner we get approval to enter the cohort, the sooner IU can get organized and the sooner they can get the cohort going. Not all of the communities that participate have to go through council to ask for permission. And so we're kind of unique in that. So sometimes it can hold up the whole cohort, but it's not quite as critical as it usually is when we come to you with these last minute things. So we'd love for your permission to enter this cohort. Laura can explain to you right now the difference between a management and master plan. And then if you have additional questions for Thomas, we can take those as well.
Yes, and also just to update, I am currently starting my 5th week of the graduate studies program in urban forestry, and it is really just amazing how practical everything is to the work that we're doing. The first class that I'm taking is urban forestry planning, policy, and management. So all the things that we are dealing with and trying to continue to move the tree program forward in Richmond. So IU has suggested a master plan, but because of the other work that I'm doing, and also the fact that we are, as we speak, our inventory is being done. So in the next 2 months, we will have a complete data set and picture of what Richmond's publicly owned trees look like. And I don't think that that has happened since probably the early 90s, and I can't really find great records of that. So the desire, I think, and our need is the management plan instead of the master plan. The master plan has more of like a long-term strategic planning framework, and I think one of my biggest hesitations about the master plan was just the time frame of the cohort. I think in order to really put together a master plan, it's going to take more than a year to get the stakeholder involvement and community feedback that we need. But with the inventory being complete, so a management plan is more the nuts and bolts of how are we prioritizing the maintenance that we're doing on our trees. And I think that now is the time to really look at that, and like the inventory will give us data about the types of trees that we have, the conditions that they're in, you know, how safe they are for our residents. So I think the best use of this cohort is taking all the pieces of the puzzle that we've started so far and really helping to guide them into a cohesive strategy for maintaining our trees for the next 10, 20 years.
And we should give kudos to IU for allowing us to change what the cohort actually is to fit Richmond. And we've built up trust with them for a long time. They've seen us perform on what we have promised to do. And so they were okay with us changing that, and they will continue to help us and hold our hand like they would with all the other cohort members. Yeah.
Allison or Laura, is this identification only of the trees and the potential problems that are going to take place, or will this be any sort of work on those issues?
There is some goal implementation towards the end of the year. So after the fellow goes back to Bloomington in the fall, they'll continue to work on some of the implementation. But so the components of a management plan are really, it would be involving the Street Tree Commission to help define a vision and goals for the urban forest. What do we want the urban forest to look like 20 years from now? Those are things we need to talk about. And then how, like, what are the objectives in order to get there, and then the action steps and the strategies. So kind of like, here are the pieces and what we need to do would be the goal for the deliverable.
Gotcha.
I also just wanted to mention that my first larger assignment was due yesterday, and it was an urban forestry gap analysis for the city of Richmond. So looking at where the urban forest, where it started. I mean, it has history that goes back to 1914, which is really interesting, but kind of where we are now and where we want to be, and then some steps based on best practices. This is all research-based on how we could get there. So if anyone wants to take a copy, you by no means have to read my research paper.
Is it electronic?
I do have electronic
Okay,
ones, too.
yeah. Can't kill trees and save trees. Yeah.
We appreciate you thinking about that. Are there any questions people have about this cohort?
I have a question.
Mr. Parker?
Yeah, I have a question. It says, I'm not clear on it, it says $3,700 match
Yeah.
for funding up to $80,000.
Yeah,
So is this like, is it $3,700 regardless of what you get?
$3,700 is all it's going to cost us, but the value of the cohort is probably between $60,000 and $80,000, and that's technical support they're offering. It is the management of the fellow. It's the fellow's expense. It is helping with the tree planting event. We'll do kind of an educational event in the fall that kind of ends the piece of it. So there, the $80,000, the higher end, is if we were doing a master plan. A management plan's a little bit cheaper, so the value isn't quite as high as if we were doing the master plan. So we're investing $3,700 for a return of between $60,000 and $80,000 based on their technical
What
support.
if you don't get the grant?
We are,
Does it cost you $3,700?
no, we are automatically in. This is a permission, we're asking permission for IU to accept us. We're asking for permission for you to allow IU to accept us. We're automatically in. We have built up trust with IU. I think that's a lot of years of you all allowing the commission to do these cohorts. So they have automatically allowed Richmond to be a part of it. We've already applied and said to them, there's no movement unless the council approves this, and they understand that.
How assured are you of getting this 100%?
100%.
Okay, thank you.
100%.
Those are good odds.
They're pretty good odds. I mean, I would take them. I think if I were a betting woman, I would take them.
Mr. Purcell?
Yeah, while you're addressing this, I would hope that we can start looking at, along with the long-term plan, leaf pickup. Because this does create quite a bit of work, which is, I love the Tree City concept, but I know this year, because of weather changes, et cetera, that the sanitary system or the stormwater system was blocked, et cetera, and I hate to be this guy, but I've had lots of calls about the leaf pickup. So
No, it's a good point.
add that in if you would, please.
Yeah, I think we would love, actually, for council, knowing what your constituents are concerned about or excited about with trees and everything that goes along with them. If you forward that to the Environmental Commission, and Bill is our council representative on the Environmental Commission, we can ensure that the climate fellow that is kind of prioritizing and help to think through that stuff does a little bit of research and work and tries to help figure that out. Now, obviously, there are budget constraints that, they can't order more tree or leaf pickup, but to ensure that there are certain types of trees that are not planted and things like that is certainly something that that makes sense in this cohort. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions?
Mr. President.
Mr. Engel?
I did have a chance to sit down with Laura and Thomas and talk about this. Councilwoman Bumbelow was with us, and it seems to make absolutely good sense to do something like this. I do support it, and I thank you for all the work that you've done on it, and I think it's a progressive thing for the city to pursue.
Another quick note is that these two will be doing most of the work with it. I am contracted by IU then to help with community engagement through all of their cohort cities. And so I'll be helping Richmond on the community engagement side too, to ensure that the public is involved in this process. So something we forgot to mention with that.
Yep.
I was just going to add that I think that there are several components to good urban forestry program, and we're really going to try to help Richmond get there. But planting is one of them, pruning and maintenance is one of them, storm preparedness. So how to, if something emergency was to happen, if a tornado was to go through Richmond, are we ready to be able to handle that? And then also the one that's going to affect us most quickly is our risk management. So with the inventory, we are finding out these hazardous trees, and Davey has conducted about 2,000 tree assessments so far, and did some quick math. About 2% of those trees are coming back high risk and recommended for removal immediately. So how are we going to manage all of those things as we find that information out in data? So I think the timing of it,
I thought it was mine for a minute.
I think the timing of it is really critical for Richmond, and it couldn't be more perfect with the completion, like following the inventory.
Mr. President,
Mr. Turner?
I move that we suspend the rules and advance ordinance 8, 2026 to second reading, read by title only.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, to suspend the rules, move ordinance 8, 2026 to second reading and read by title only. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An appropriation ordinance authorizing the submittal, acceptance, and appropriation of a grant from the Indiana University's Environmental Resilience Institute.
Okay, this ordinance is on second reading. Are you here to speak in favor of?
If you have any additional questions, I'd love to hear them, but we'll allow people to speak
Okay,
against.
all right. This being on the second reading, this is public hearing, so is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of Ordinance 8, 2026?
President?
Mr. Purcell?
Yes, I met with Beth on this because the time frame for application would have ran out before this meeting. And I called you and talked to you about it and gave them permission to go ahead. And so they've already filed for this. And tonight, the Finance Committee met on it and recommendation is for passage.
Thank you. Any last call for those that like to speak in favor of Ordinance 8? Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak against Ordinance 8, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Call the question.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, can you please call the question?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda,
Aye.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart,
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblelow. And
Aye.
Jerry Purcell. 8
Aye.
are in favor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we'll move on to ordinances on second reading. Ordinance 6, 2026.
An appropriation ordinance amending the 2026 budget.
I believe we had someone here to discuss at the last meeting. Since it's on second reading, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of Ordinance 6, 2026? Anyone that would like to speak in opposition of 6, 2026?
Mr. President,
Mr. Purcell?
the Finance Committee met on that this evening on this ordinance, and our recommendation is for passage.
Thank you, Mr. Purcell.
Motion to engross.
Move for engrossment.
Well, we had a motion
Second.
Oh,
and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Call the question.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, can you please call the question?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel.
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblelow.
Aye.
And Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
8 are in favor.
Thank you. Ordinance 7, 2026.
An appropriation ordinance amending the 2026 budget.
Thank you. This is on public hearing, being second reading. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor of Ordinance 7, 2026? Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition of Ordinance 7, 2026?
Move for engrossment.
Second.
We have,
Mr. President,
yes, Mr. Purcell.
the Finance Committee met on this, and our motion is for approval.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to engross. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
call
Call
the
the
question.
question.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the question?
Doug Goss,
Aye.
Lucinda Wright,
Aye.
Bill Engel,
Aye.
Larry Parker.
Aye.
Justin Burkhart.
Aye.
Gary Turner.
Aye.
Jane Bumblelow.
Aye.
And Jerry Purcell.
Aye.
8 are in favor.
Yeah, you know I'm taking this personal, Karen, right?
No, it's hard not to make a joke.
Did you call you Linda again?
She just forgets my name.
Lucy, are you good?
Get it?
Is there any other business that needs to come before council this evening?
Move for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
No, it's on my tip of my
RPN?
tongue.
You're watching WGTV Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.
Good evening. Welcome to the Richmond Power and Light Board meeting for February 2nd, 2026. Clerk, please call the roll.
I lost my sheet. Justin Burkhart,
Here.
Lucinda Wright,
Present.
Bill Engel.
Here.
Barry Parker.
Here.
Doug Goss,
Here.
Ann Taylor, Gary Turner.
Here.
Jane Bumbelow.
Here.
Jerry Purcell.
Bills to be approved.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr.
Finance Committee has reviewed the bills and moved for approval of $7,558,441.29.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bills in the amount of $7,558,441.29. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Doug, are you going to approve the minutes?
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
That was next.
Approval of the minutes for January.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Purcell.
Yes. In review of the minutes, if no one else has any modifications or changes, I move that we approve as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for January. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion approved. Remarks by the chairman. We'll turn this over to Tony.
Right. Well, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Evening.
So a few things tonight. The first item I'd like to discuss is an action item, and we are requesting permission to request bids for one new 2026 or newer Class 7 extended cab 4x2 truck with a dump body as previously approved in the 2026 capital budget. We have a potential trade of a 2011 International 4300 4x2 dump truck. The reason I say potential trade, the way we have our bid specs set up is we ask for a price with and without trade. And we have recently had some equipment that we did not trade in, and it reached its end of useful life. And we had a really good experience with an auction site that allowed us to get more money than we expected. So we may, depending on what the trade value is, we may look at doing that for this piece of equipment. So anyway, that's why I said potential trade. Just wanted to clarify that. But we are requesting permission to go out to bid for this particular vehicle, like I said, as previously approved in the budget.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to authorize the general manager to receive bids on one new 2026 Class 7 extended cab truck with dump body. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Tonight, as we do typically in February, we will review our system reliability from 2025. I know we do this every year, so I won't go in as much detail as I have in years past, but we did have a good year in 2025. So when it comes to reliability, continuity of service is important to the success of RP&L and contributes greatly to the economic development in our community. Customers and site selectors can place as much or greater importance on reliability as they do the rates. So we are continually working to improve our customer service and positively impact economic development by trying to do our best to improve reliability. I even went to Google AI, and Google AI says electric reliability is now a top-tier factor in industrial site selection, frequently surpassing labor or incentives for projects like data centers and manufacturing. So you know it has to be true if Google AI is
Put that on a Facebook page.
That's right.
Smarter than us.
So our service reliability index did improve this year over the past 2 years. We were in the 99.97-ish range the past 2 years. We are now 99.9851. A lot can be attributed to that. You know, some of those years, we had some pretty bad storms, which can really mess up your reliability if you have a storm when you have people out for a couple of days. But a lot of what we do also attributes to that, and that's things like tree trimming and some other things that we'll talk about next. This shows our reliability month by month. I know that's up and down, but I'd like for you to look at the far left. So that's 99.96 through almost 100% was our reliability month to month. Our best month being July at 99.9979%. So that's about as close to 100% as we'll probably get. That's pretty good stuff. So we had our top 3 causes of outages. And actually today, I always give this to Mary to proofread before I print these. And if one letter in misspelled in outages turns that into outrages. so it works both ways. Outages do cause outrages. So the top 3 causes of outages in 2025 were tree-related events, weather events, and equipment electrical failures, ranked 3rd. And a lot of times the tree-related events are also attributed to a storm, but when it's a tree, like you can see there, that was caused by high winds. We count it as tree. That was just recently, actually, on the edge of Oak Park, an early morning outage. Our largest equipment failure occurred on Straight Line Pike when a step-down transformer failed. This set of lines we share with another utility because it's the edge of our service territory. Their line was dangling, and we have a hunch that that's what caused our equipment failure. And so what it did cause a transformer to fail. 358 customers were without power for 172,000 plus minutes. When this outage occurred, I have it noted, it was -4 degrees that night. So that was not a fun one for us. The most significant weather event of the year occurred on June 18th when a storm hit the area, causing fallen trees, opened up a couple different circuits, broke cross arms, and broke poles. This affected over 2,000 customers and 171,000 lost customer minutes. We usually try to get pictures, but everybody was so busy on that storm. All I could pull up from that storm was our Facebook post. And so it's always a reminder for everyone that we always try to post everything on Facebook to keep everybody up to date, especially during long outages. We had 8 vehicle accidents that caused outages this year. We had one on October 6th that caused 65,000 customer minutes to be lost, one on November 20th that caused 40,000 plus customer minutes to be lost. That one on October 6th was actually hit and run. It always amazes me that someone can take out a pole and keep driving, but it happens. Animals. So I have listed here, I know we're talking about 2025, but our largest animal-related outage in 2024 was when a squirrel got into the Williamsburg substation, knocked it offline, and affected 1,600-plus customers for 40,000 minutes. We're happy to say we did not have any outages inside a substation in 2025 due to animal contact. Again, we're constantly working on animal guards and other things to keep the critters out. So our total animal contacts for 2025 were about 1,100 customers and about 40,000 lost minutes. Again, we're always trying to improve that, but that's less than that one single outage in 2024. So squirrels create a lot of havoc. Speaking of which, oftentimes people will say, hey, my lights blinked. Why did that happen? That's because one of our circuit breakers operated and locked back in. So usually what you'll see leading up to a sustained outage is your lights will blink 3 times, and if they stay out the 4th time, they're probably going to stay out. That means that circuit breaker's locked open. But anytime we have a blink, we go out and we try to research it because we want to make sure we know what caused it and if we need to repair something or if there's something we can do better. So we track all of our breaker operations, and we were down this year. We were in the 150s last year. It was 123 this year. Main source of breaker operations, once again, were squirrels at 29. Unknown at 28. So unknown is most likely either an animal, and we just didn't find the body, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but we try to find the body to prove what the source was. Or like in a windy situation, a tree branch or something touches the line and causes the breaker to operate. Some honorable mentions this year. We must have had a family of geese. Notice had a family of geese, but they caused 4 breaker operations in March and April. And another honorable mention, we did have a Mylar balloon this year that also caused us some trouble. But reliability doesn't happen by accident. It is an investment in our people, training and retaining talent. It's a very technical field, and we have great staff, so they make all the difference. Maintenance, ongoing upkeep, monitoring, and systematically upgrading our equipment infrastructure is important. Maintenance when it comes to tree trimming, it pays dividends. I don't want to jinx this, but we've had a lot of wind in the last few months, and we've done pretty darn well compared to previous years when it comes to trees and winds. Data collection, we are always collecting data and analyzing that data so we can plan and take action on making repairs or looking at things that we need to improve. And then, of course, maintaining financial reserves for emergencies, because it is very important that we're able to act in a timely manner, especially in a situation where maybe we would need mutual aid or something like that. And I'd like to give a big thank you to Dave Stevens. He's our system planning engineer. He tracks this information monthly and then puts together a report at the end of the year, compiling all the data. So big thanks to Dave. So do you have any questions on system reliability?
Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to go back to the vehicle and the selling of the used vehicles. Thank you for your due diligence on that.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yep, and as far as what people need to understand is usually you look at a graph and you're seeing from 0 to 100%, your graph has about 0.5% allowance in it. So it's kind of deceiving when you look at it. It's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So appreciate you pointing that out, yes. That we have a good crew and try our very best to keep reliability at the top, so. Any other questions? Hearing none, I do have one more item to cover, and I'll keep this kind of brief, but it's pertinent to our situation with the cold. I don't know how many of you noticed in the news media these different articles. This one, top left, it's from an REMC. Members urge to conserve energy, Centerpoint, grid operators seek conservation. Another, I think this was an X post on Centerpoint talking about MISO asking for folks to conserve energy. I guess I wanted to explain a little bit about that if you're ever questioned. So MISO is a regional transmission organization, and so is PJM. So what that stands for, a regional transmission organization. They're nonprofit entities that manage the multi-state high-voltage power grids to ensure reliability, efficient flow of power, and oversight of the wholesale markets under FERC or federal oversight. So we are in PJM. So you can see a little bit's carved out there in Indiana, picks up a little bit in Illinois. But basically the whole East Coast, or going towards the East Coast, is in the PJM interconnect. So PJM has different levels of conservation, and during this particular storm, this cold weather that we're experiencing, they did issue a conservation operation notice on the 24th. And then on the 27th, which I believe was last Tuesday, they did issue a maximum generation emergency load management alert, basically saying, hey, we're getting near our capacity. But it never went beyond that. So being in PJM, that's when we are called upon to, or actually IMPA is called upon to operate the Whitewater Valley Cold Generation Facility, which was operating last week. So that's when you start to see those types of generation called to come online. So with with Whitewater Valley, with the peaker units, now the battery, we have a lot of resources available to us in our community that other communities don't have when we're in a pinch like this. So we're very, very fortunate. But again, if you did get any questions about all these alerts, most of those were applicable to MISO. They went a little further down on their chart than the PJM customers did. And just if you're into this kind of stuff, this was the fuel mix on that really cold day last Tuesday. All those big bottom blobs, those are your base load power, nuclear, then coal, and then the brown is gas, which it can be adjusted accordingly. Some things that are a little unique during this, that were unique during this time, it's hard to see there, but there was oil, some places that were burning fuel oil, multiple fuels, could have been anything from plants that were called upon that use diesel or other products. And then gas increased, of course. It's a dispatchable resource, so it was used more. Solar was about the same, wind was about the same, but again, interesting that, a few of these other things were added to the mix once resources became tight. So we are kept in the loop on what's going on. IMPA sends us notices when there is an issue, when there is any type of alert, and gives us guidance. And again, like I mentioned, the generating plant was also operating, which covered the majority of our load. We did reach into the high 140s. We're typically about a 120 megawatt day, but we did reach into the 140s during this cold snap. Anyway, would entertain any questions that you have.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Foster? Thank you, Tony.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Do we have any unfinished business? Hearing none.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're watching WGTV Channel 11, part of the Whitewater Community Television family of stations.